Hi, everybody. Okay. Um, the reason why the title is so weird is because I tried to make another video and it wouldn't take. I don't know why. It's really cloudy here, but that's about it. So there should be no problem, but yeah, there is apparently. I am doing what I usually do, which is using videos I had before that I didn't do anything with yet. Okay. And I'm sorry about the hair. I never know how to put sometimes the headphones go on and there's no problem, and then sometimes the headphones go on and so okay. Okay, this is getting on my nerves. Give me a second. All right, that's a little bit better, but okay. So Carry Day 14 because we have no 15 because for some reason there's no court today. Don't know why, and I don't speculate. So day 14. I didn't talk about it before was because I wanted to make sure there was only one witness, and most of the day was taken by Yuri Buchanan, but I call him Bukaki because um, first of all, it's a joke because they called him that before. And also, he lies so much that, yeah, um, I don't know. I call him, well, I use a lot of words for different people, and it's not bad language, it's just slippery, slimy, and the language is interchangeable. Okay, so I don't always use the same words for everybody, but whenever you give me the feeling that you're doing something that you know you shouldn't do, that's when I call you different words because yeah. Now, okay, going back to yesterday, slightly, um, okay. So, inevitably, they didn't have court for as long as they usually have it. They have it around 7 or 8 hours. Well, yesterday's was around 5, maybe 6, because the majority of the money was taken up by Fordeer or Rordire, depends on how you want to pronounce it. But usually it happens before the case even opens, and it basically is where both sides' attorneys can ask questions, and then the judge decides if she's going to allow the individual to testify or not. And that's usually done before trial. This time, I guess they were trying to get ahead of something. I don't know what. But they actually had a voir dire, which means it was outside of the jury's presence, but during, when the trial should be going on. Okay, well, this process took hours, and um, the judge decided to not allow him to testify because he had no direct knowledge of the questions being asked. But so I felt kind of cheated because it took about 2 hours or something to find out nothing. To find out he knew nothing. So kind of a waste of time. Okay. So then in the afternoon, which is around 1:30, maybe 2, because after the process, they had their lunch break. And see, the thing about the lunch break is it never is called at the same time every day. So that's why sometimes I don't have two videos because I have enough time for the morning break. But then by the time the afternoon lunch or whatever happens is right when the soap operas are happening. So I can't be watching the soap opera and doing a video at the same time. So that's why. And then that's why the videos, if I do two videos, they're really late as compared to when it happened. That's why. Okay. So in the afternoon part, they talk about more evidence. And the evidence they got to was mostly the video. The video and the Sally port. And the Sally port is just a fancy way of saying a garage. Okay, so instead of saying Sally port, imagine garage. So you don't get confused or something. Okay? All right. And the video was inverted. Now, this is not news because what happened in the first trial was that day was a oh my god jaw drop moment because they tried to play it off like it was really the way it was supposed to look, and then finally somebody on the defense team, I think Alan Jackson, but one of them said that's not right and called him on the carpet for it. And then they had to fess up that it was inverted. And I remember because I did a video that day where I went off and I said I can't believe that they would allow inverted video to be put on as evidence and say it's all right and there's no problem with it. Okay, so what happened this time was they had to know it was coming in. The Commonwealth had to know it was coming in. So, um, still the same witness on the stand. And he tries, like anything, to say that the video is the way it's supposed to be and there's no problem. Meanwhile, I'm screaming at the thing because I watched it on my computer. So imagine me screaming at the screen and going, "What? Really?" Only more volume. Because it's just I know it's live. First of all, I know it's inverted, and I know that it means that it's completely opposite of what it's supposed to look like. So if you're gonna go the honest route, which there's another point also I gotta talk about because this has been going on for the whole trial. Okay, the overarching thought in my head is if they're the Commonwealth and their whole idea is to not even get justice, forget that for a minute, okay? Say they want a conviction, rightly or wrongly um, acquired, right? Okay. You would think they would do anything it would take to not get an acquittal. Okay, well, red flag, red flag. The first signs of the first way to get an acquittal is to mess with evidence and then try to play like it's true. Okay, it's just a heads up. I mean, this coming from a lay person, common sense approach. Maybe you don't want to do that. Just saying. So he tries to go with the, um, you know, well, yeah, it's supposed to look like that, and yeah, it's true, and it's an accurate depiction. I'm going, no, it's not. No, it's not. Okay, another thing that happened yesterday was, and this kind of, I have to talk about the day before a little bit because the day before he used a line that English is his third language, so he doesn't know the meaning of some words. Problem with that though, he tried to say he didn't know the meaning of the word theory, but yet, not 3 minutes before he said that, he explained the word theory and gave an example of the word. Okay? Okay. And then he tries to say, I don't understand the language. What? Okay. So remember that. Juxtaposed with yesterday's testimony, where he was explaining the meaning of another word and explaining the difference between, what was it? Bruising and abrasions. Okay? And I think we all know what they mean, okay? But my point is that abrasion is not the most common word in the English language. It's not, um, I don't know, street. Like everybody knows what a street is, or a curve, the curve, you know? Those are common words. Abrasion doesn't really fall off the tongue that easily. And he yet knows the difference between abrasions and bruises. Okay. And then there's a process that happens um, after unaliving that's called lividity. And it just means that after the heart stops pumping, there's a pulling of the blood under the skin. Okay? And so it makes a discoloration on the skin. He was able to explain lividity to the jury. And the only reason I know what it is because I've watched enough trials now and listened to enough of medical examiners' testimonies to understand what that word means. If I was a completely layperson with no experience whatsoever, you'd have to explain it to me. Yes, I could probably understand it after you explain it, but you'd have to explain it. So the fact that he can understand concepts and big words like that and then go, I don't understand the language. I call BS. Can we have the BS train? Yeah. So, now there's another part of this that I have to talk about, and it hasn't happened yet, but I feel I have to discuss it, and I have to feel like I have to talk about my thoughts on this one. Okay, and then this will be the end of the video. All right. So they did something in the first trial that I am not a fan of at all, unless you're going to do it for a specific purpose. But I don't feel like they were doing it that way. What I'm talking about is they have minors that they plan on calling, and they called them in the first trial, and a lot of people were up in arms and saying, "Why are you calling them?" And they were trying to prove something, but then the thing is that they didn't prove anything, and it was a bad look. Okay. But then the thing is when they call the minors because of the legalities of it, they can't have cameras in the courtroom. So I don't know if they're going to do that this time or not. I don't think they should do it in the first place. But once again, I'm no control over that. So yeah. So this is kind of a long-winded video. I'm sorry, but I had a lot of thoughts for the last 2 days on the last 2 days trial because it was a circus. It was truly a circus, and I just spent most of the time going, "What? Huh?" Not because I didn't know, because I couldn't believe what I was seeing and what I was hearing. So, yeah. All right. Bye, guys.